We won't know until tomorrow night what's in the budget, but from what you heard tonight, what can we expect to support the people that you're trying to help?
Very little. I'm just disappointed because I feel that a lot is done for a lot of the people that are well off. I feel the people that are really, really destitute don't often have a voice. They're left out. And when you come across this as often and more, as is happening at the moment, you realise how important it is. And I think we have a moral duty to look after the people in our society. They belong to our community, and we're all just, on that thin line for ourselves. So it's about here.
I'm just wondering, tomorrow, there is, if you go to the ABC website, you'll see there is a $4 billion surplus expected because there is more tax take because more people are working, and we've had a windfall because of increased commodity prices with inflation going up around the world. Who believes that should be spent now, or it should be saved until later? Who believes we should spend that now to help people who are struggling, or who believes we should save it? So you believe it should be spent now? Why?
Well, I think the money collected by government obviously is to do good public service and welfare for the people, and I think it's absolutely crucial that we're addressing that and basically, making sure that directing the money to support people that are in need.
Who thinks we should save the money? Save it for a rainy day. Yeah.
Well, the difficulty, Stan, I think, is that I'm certainly not clear on what the quantum of funds we're talking about are or is, but the idea that somehow solving innumerable and ongoing problems can be resolved by spending cash today is, I'm sorry, is a bit nonsensical to me. It's a long-term problem. There has to be a long-term solution. If your proposal for a solution is to simply blow the savings of how the money stands at the moment, the problem's going to go away next year or the year after. Clearly, it is not. There has to be a long-term strategic policy approach.
We were talking tonight about people getting into politics and who actually does get into politics. Do you think that politics represents our community? When you look at our politicians, who believes that it represents the community? Who would like to see different people in politics and why? I'll come down the front. We come over this way. So, sir, did you had your hand up?
I think it'd be nice to see someone in politics that looks like me, that I can represent, that represents my views and my values. I also think it's generally, as a black man in Australia, it'd be nice to have other young black men look up to politicians and aspire to that career path as well, and just not stick with the sort of traditional career paths that are put in front of us as well. So I think it's a good idea to have diversity in that sense.
Who'd like to see more Jacqui Lambies in politics? She certainly says it straight. Yes, you sir.
Yeah, it's nice to have she's got ground experience, she's been through the mills, and as she said, she didn't come straight out of university and straight into politics, So I'd like to see more people like her around Parliament.
Who's read Trainspotting? Yep. Well, you didn't read it 30 years ago, you're far too young, but 30 years ago it came out. What did it tell you about how people were living then and when you reflect on how people are living today?
I actually read it at university, and gosh, I think the drugs are different. But maybe the same. Like with addiction is just exactly the same, and I think there's still people going through the exact same thing with just different drugs.
And do you think people feel as if the world is bleaker now than it was 30 years ago? Who thinks that things are actually getting worse, or who thinks they're getting better? Who thinks they're getting worse today than they were 30 years ago? Oh, yes, a couple of hands up here. You, Matt?
I'm talking about the war overseas, all the fighting, all the killing in so many countries. That's what's bleak. That's what we've got to be happy that we live in Australia and doing the things that we want to do without harm.
I'll finish with a show of hands, because we did talk about the Republic tonight, and maybe it's a time away before we actually have a referendum on it or not. But after seeing the coronation on the weekend, the Queen's passing and now King Charles, if there was a referendum held on a Republic today, who would vote yes? Hands up those otherwise who'd vote no? Yeah. Yeah, oh, you got it. It's half. I like half.
Well, we don't know enough about what the model would be, and until we can't really.
Which is what the last referendum was about, wasn't it? It was about the model. If I asked a room back then, probably the same number of hands would have gone up, and of course the referendum itself failed. But thanks again for coming tonight. Good luck for those of you who are really waiting on what the budget's going to produce. Good luck to those of you who are studying, those of you who are looking for work, and I hope that you get the support that you need out of the budget tomorrow. Thank you again for coming. Thank you.